the rock. You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's the reach. We ready. Who ready?
Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, people? What's going on, people? Welcome to the One and One Sports Show. Everybody going to introduce themselves. My name is Dante.
All right, Mr. Bennett.
I am Trey Ferg, get your players coach. What's up,
And
fellas?
What's good, sir?
we got our other co-host, Shawnee. He's going to be joining us in just a minute. He's going to go ahead and get with us. But, fellas, first things first, man. How's y'all week been?
Week has been pretty good, man. Just I think I've watched every conceivable Steelers mock draft possible. So I don't know what's going to happen on tomorrow night, but definitely it's becoming one of my favorite sports times of the year, and definitely it's like must see TV. At least the Friday, Thursday night, and then obviously it tapers off a little bit, but certainly it's a great experience, and we'll see how the dominoes fall, literally.
Yeah, I mean it's a great time of year, especially when you look at it as far as who your team's going to draft, especially if you root for a certain team, and then looking at the standpoint of like the playoffs and everything, there's just so much going on. But what's going on with you, Trey Fur?
Hey, man, it's summertime. Well, springtime, the weather's getting nice. It's almost derby time down here. Everything's going to be going on for the next week or so. My son's going to be coming in town. We're going to hang out and catch some of the derby festivities and watch some summer sports that's picking up. So
do you guys actually go to the Derby? I
ain't been to the Derby, brother, been a man in 30 years, man.
Well, it's a pretty pricey ticket, right? It's like the elites kind of go there, right? So isn't it?
Well, they have usually, when I was young, we would go to the infield or shit. When we ain't have $30, we just hung around at the track because it's right in the middle of the city. But
right,
the infield used to be about a $30 ticket. But shit, you just on grass and you handling whatever weather you get, mud, whatever.
Right.
Now the infield is about $130. So, they have a big parade on Sunday. They have a boat race on Wednesday. They just had the air and fireworks show this past Saturday, which is the largest air show in the country. I mean, fireworks show in the country goes about an hour and 20 minutes.
Right.
So everything's moving and grooving right now down in Louisville. I'm not in Louisville, but I'm close by, just 20 minutes outside over in the Indiana side. But, it's an exciting time for the whole city, man. Everybody's out. I think the weather's going to be nice. A lot of stars go be in town, a lot of parties.
Yeah, it's a big celebrity event. Like folks aren't even into horse racing, but it's like it's one of those spots to be in.
Yeah.
If you're in that class.
Yeah, it picked up after MC Hammer. He had a horse in the race.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then I think Michael Jordan was here a few races ago. So who's who is here for 2 days down in this area. So you got $5,000 to blow. Come on down.
And them ladies be wearing that proper attire down there. They be rocking them hats.
Yeah.
Like they going to church, man. It's like
that's all it is, man. A big hat show for the lady. But I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a lot going on.
Cool.
Yeah, man. So I know for me, it's just like work has been cool, but it's just like I'm in the process of moving as well. So it's like,
oh yeah, where to?
Just not in the same city. Just moving to a different spot, bigger location. So
gotcha.
That
growing family.
Yeah, they're growing family. I need some more room. So I'm just kind of getting everything, trying to get a truck, trying to get everything moved. Because a lot of times, you're working from home, so you got to make sure the connection is right, so that you're able to,
you got some dude. We out the area, so we can't help you, but you got some dudes, you got some horses who can help you lift some of that weight.
Yeah, I got some people.
Got you.
Yeah,
Good.
I got some people for sure. But
good deal.
I know we got a lot of topics this week, and so where you guys want to start it off with?
Well, I mean, again, the like I said, one of the best days in the in the country's coming up. We kind of just covered the Kentucky Derby. Like I said, I used to be in it when I was a kid. I think the last time they had there was a stretch where you had these runs. I can't remember when the last Triple Crown winner was, but I know like in the early '80s you had like all these 1-2 races and couldn't get that last one. So that's definitely one of those hat tricks in sports that's very difficult to achieve. But it did remind me for a while. So you got that. I get into that, and then next month you got the Indianapolis 500, which I was certainly a big fan of growing up. Mario Andretti is like my favorite car driver back in the day. So certainly seeing what they're doing there. I kind of fell out of it a little bit because I thought it kind of leveled out. Like when I was growing up, like every year they were breaking like records. Like, I remember when the first car went over 200 miles an hour. Then it was like 210, 220. And then they said, well, we can't let these cars go any faster because, we don't need no 250 mile an hour cars going around the track. Otherwise, that could get fatal real quick. So I saw, but that was like the big thing, like who's going to break the pole record year after year. And then it was like that, there's a limit here. So, but that's certainly coming up. And then of course the other Triple Crown races as well. So whoever wins the Kentucky Derby, then it's like, okay, we'll tag you it. Can you do the trifecta? But yeah, I mean, we can certainly talk about the draft, man. I mean, I'm like I said, I've been spending a lot of time. In fact, all of us have our teams here that have very intimate knowledge of. So if each one wants to just talk about, what your ideal draft board is, maybe for the first three or four rounds, who you've been eyeing for your team, who do you think they're most likely to help your team, and just based on what your position is with your team, where do you think your picks will fall, and what are your needs? What do you think? Just looking at the Cowboys and whatnot, where do you think the biggest needs are? Let them have their day. This is where the football family gets together. All right, we got plenty of time during the season and all that to get on them. But this is a grace period. This is like from what was that movie with the Keanu Reeves, who was like the spy assassin guy, John Wick.
John Wick.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we in that hotel. You know what I mean?
Continental.
We in the Continental. Let's stay in the Continental tonight, right? So
you can stop it.
We in the Continental. We're on free ground. Just let's talk, man. Let's just talk, man. There's plenty of time to get out there and do stuff. So you want to kick it off? So what's going on with your Cowboys, and what are the needs, and what do you think is most likely, from what you've been hearing, where do you think they're looking?
To be honest, it's like sometimes they say when players fall, there's a blinking light as far as like, oh, I gotta take that player who fell. In this case, it's the way you don't want it. It's a blinking light that, hey, you got needs at the offensive line. You lost Tyron Smith, and you got rid of your center, and it looks to upgrade because Tyler Biadasz was a fine player, but you feel like you can get better. Honestly, if you want to be honest, you have flexibility with one of your starters, but he was an All-Pro, and Tyler Smith that has played left tackle his rookie season. You do have a sneaky need and possibly the guy that can play right tackle, just in case Terrence Steele isn't right. So it's kind of like you got to look at it and hope he's healthy. But I would say for sure they have to get a center. I would say a center, a left tackle, and a running back in the first 3 rounds. If they can get that, I would be happy with that, because my thing is I would like to get the left tackle, but I don't want to move Tyler Smith, because at that point, if you move him, then you're going to get a guard that's playing there for a first-time starter, because the guard I would assume would be somebody on the roster, TJ Bass, who's a fine player, and then you would have a rookie center. So you have a rookie center, and a first-time starter at guard with left tackle, somebody that you can give the help to. I would much prefer that, like, Tyler can give him help at guard. On the other side, you got Zach Martin to help him out, kind of help coach out the center. So you got guys helping you on both sides.
Right.
But if you can get a center that can help you run the football, like the guy from Oregon,
Jackson Powers Johnson. Yeah.
You got that tongue twister name. If you can get somebody like that, if you can get somebody on the left tackle side that's not just a complete project. From some of these guys I've heard, they're complete projects. Like, hey, they got the first team off the bus, but then hey, they don't really play the position all that much. And like one guy I'm intrigued by, that's kind of like my the guy that I wouldn't mind getting at all. It's the tackle from Georgia, Amarius Mims.
Yeah,
They always
yeah.
throw out that short amount of starts, but then when you see him and you
He's
see
a
him go
freak.
out and dominate,
He's a
it's like,
freak. Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, you can't teach that size and athleticism for
no,
sure.
you
So
can't.
he's good. What's going on, Shawnee? How you doing?
Fine, fine. I'm
How's your
getting
week
my
going so
license.
far?
It's been going okay. Busy. I'm ready for the weekend
Right,
already.
right, right. I hear you. Now you're a Cowboys fan also, right? All
Yeah.
right. So
I mean,
so
they not
so
giving me
I don't.
nothing to
Yeah. So
celebrate about.
I don't want you guys to
It's
feel
disgusting.
have you guys 2 for 1. I don't want to do that. So you have the floor to talk about any things that Dante didn't cover as far as your Cowboys. Again, what do you think the team's best needs are? What do you think is most likely as far as who do you have your eyes on? And I do have a side topic since you guys are in Texas. What's going on with your guy Devondre Sweat? Got arrested with a DUI. And I mean, the guy was a freak. I saw him at the combine, and I thought he was definitely going to be, certainly a top prospect. And in addition to that, you guys got another defensive lineman who's also rated to go very high. But I don't know. I mean, this may take him into, way down on the draft board, but he was definitely looked at as one of the stars who was, a lot of guys had their eyes on. So you guys are close to that situation. What's going on with that? I heard the story and I was like, wow, that's like the worst thing that can happen at this point. You did all the work to, put yourself in this position, and now you're going to, wind up with a DUI charge. That's just not a good way to get your career started. So, but one thing about, I think with the Cowboys now, I think someone like Jerry Jones, he would take a risk. If he thought, the talent was there, he just needs a good support system or whatever, I could definitely see someone like Jerry Jones still want to swim him up, especially if he falls to like the 5th or 6th round or, what have you. I think that Jerry be the type of one he'd still say, if he can play, let's get him. So what do you guys think about that situation? And Sean, again, if you want to give your perspective on what do you think your team's needs are, who you're eyeing as far as for the Cowboys?
Well, one, I don't really know too much. I didn't even know anything about the Sweat situation. I didn't.
Yeah, yeah. It literally,
I
it just,
yeah, it's
yeah.
happened.
Only
Bale
person I've been
said,
hearing about who got in trouble here in the DFW area is Rice with his
Yeah,
speeding
Rasheed
incident.
Rice. Yeah,
But
Yeah,
I'm not
and
gonna
it
look
just
up on
happened.
that one.
It just happened this week, just this past week. Again, it's like the last thing you would want is something like that to happen. Actually, no, it happened a couple weeks ago. It happened on April 9th. My bad. Happened on
Oh,
April
okay.
9th.
yeah.
Bail was set for $3,000, and so again, I don't know where he's at or if he's had a chance to address that yet. I'm sure teams who are eyeing him, I'm sure have spoken to him and trying to get the the situation. But I think his draft stock certainly is going to take a hit for this, and so it's just a matter of who he lands. I think I still think he's a talented guy. I heard his combine was speaking to the press. And definitely a jovial guy. Has a lot of personality. I mean, I think he could be a star. But that's something that, especially nowadays in recent years, you've heard about these NFL players doing a lot of reckless stuff, drunk driving, reckless. People getting deleted and whatnot. So that's just not something they want to play with. But yeah. But go ahead, Tony. In terms of
Well, if he was
which prospect for the
eligible for
Cowboys?
the draft, he definitely, because I agree with Dante what the Cowboys needs with the offensive line, but they had so much key players leave. They got a lot of holes to fill. So of course the offensive line needs to be solidified, but they also need a defensive tackle. They definitely need one of those. I'm not really sure on Miles Smith. He hasn't really made no
He's
plays.
hurt. He's
Yeah.
hurt. He's
'Cause to
hurt.
me, he
So
almost
he's
said
coming
become a
back.
Taco Charlton. I don't know. But he hasn't been doing anything. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's why they had Jonathan Hankins, but he's gone. So now the spotlight is going to be on him whenever he can return. But definitely defensive tackle, and I believe also they need a safety. So they have their holes. I I really don't, because they just have so much, and every time I think about how the Cowboys go about their offseason and their drafts, they put so much weight and stock on the draft picks because they don't really participate as much in free agency.
Right.
They almost they draft picks have to perform at a Pro Bowl level year one for them to have a chance, because that's how they develop. They only want to develop like that. So I think they do a good job of drafting O linemen, but then on the flip side, they do not good job of drafting defensive tackles for whatever reason. But they definitely need to solidify that O line. Definitely protect Dak. Whether or not he will be here in 26 is still up in the air. Because one thing about Dak, he will play hardball when it comes to his contract. So
right.
Good luck with that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, because they lost Stephon Gilmore, so they're going to have to get another defensive back, because I know you got Bland, because Diggs is coming back off his injury, so that would be good for one side. I guess you got to have Bland, but I think they just need another playmaker, because regardless who they get, they got to stay steady throughout the whole season, because players have a tendency, they don't show up, all of them. I'm talking about all the Cowboys players. The bigger teams, they don't show up. So I don't care how much praise Michael Parsons be getting, CeeDee Lamb, hell, Dak even. When they play the biggest games, they all wilter. So you just need somebody who can go and just dominate their position and make some impactful plays, and you be hoping they'll do that by acquiring a free agent. But since they want to go through the draft, it's just like kicking the can down the road, because they take the same approach every year. So
do you think that might be the reason for a lot of their playoff disappointments? The fact they don't have vets, because back in the '90s, Jerry Jones, he would get like the Haley, Charles Haley, he would get a prime, he would get that player to kind of fill in, and certainly they would make their bread and butter in playoff time. So do you think the fact that they don't have that high price tag free agent guy to come in and really help to stabilize the that veteran to stabilize the team, you think that's why we're seeing they can have great regular season success, and then the postseason they kind of wilter off because of lack of veteran leadership?
Well, they don't. It's not necessarily they need a high price free agency, because you don't want to put yourself in a cap hell, because they already struggling with the players they have currently on their roster. But it's more of, if there's a position of need, especially if you have multiple positions of need, and there's a free agent that can be an impactful player, try to do what you can to get him.
Right.
They refuse to take that route, and they put so much pressure on the draft, and it's like, dude, every draft pick you pick is not going to be a Pro Bowler.
Right.
And they do the same. They do the same process. They go the same path every offseason. They get the exact same results at the end. So you be wanting them to get a free agent, like the whole Travis Henry, Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
That was a huge miss by the Cowboys. Now I don't know what Henry was asking, but he would have fit an immediate need. Now I know you could pick a running back in the draft, so hopefully they can find somebody, but he definitely would have fit an immediate need. And yeah, it's because I like to have, like, say for the Texans right now, the Texans, and of course because their quarterback is on a rookie deal, they are going about it. Even the Eagles, they do it. Multiple teams, especially the teams up towards the top, the Texans are trying to get there. But the teams that's up towards the top, like the Eagles, the 49ers, they always seem to get these key free agents. They're not necessarily high-paid free agents, but free agents that is going to fill a need. When the Eagles notice, go through the season, and they notice there's a hole, they will address it right there, because they're trying to win a championship that year. The Cowboys just kind of ignore it, and hope somebody
Right.
on their roster.
That's why I was referring to those guys earlier. Like, when was the last time Jerry rolled out his pocketbook for a
I don't
big
think
free
he's
agent? The
really
last
gonna
guy I thought
do that.
was that wide receiver you guys had for like 2 or 3 years. He came
Amari Cooper.
Yeah. Like, that's the last like
He's
big
traded
like
for-
splash
traded for him.
name
That was the
that he
last
brought
splash.
into the organization. Like, or but prior to that, he would if you were big time, he would get you. He would get like a Terrell Owens, or just for the name recognition, like for the sizzle, he would get. But like you said, lately they're definitely not as focused on that and getting
Their philosophy.
built into
Who was that, Dante? Who was that DB?
Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark. He was the last big player. He was the last big money free agent, and it didn't work out for him. And
the definition of you paying great money to a good player who was a good player. He never missed a game in his time in Dallas. I mean, he made a few plays here and there. Like, I want to say his first season was probably playmaking wise was his best one. I remember I think the Steelers came to AT&T and he got an interception to seal the game. And it's like, so he made some plays, but he didn't make enough plays on the ball. That just wasn't the type of DB he was.
right.
But I know, Sonny, you spoke on what they need and missing. I don't agree on the thing of a Derrick Henry. I feel like Derrick Henry, you have to at least be a level of bargaining. Like, you have to make a call and say, hey, what would it take at least? If it's past what you want, I can understand if you.
And that's the thing.
Because
They
be
didn't
honest,
call him. They didn't. Call him.
they should have called him. That's my thing. You should have at least called him. But you can see the fan base going ballistic if you got the Zeke money, the dead money on your cap, and then you're going to pay a guy that's older than he was when you signed him, and you could very well see the fall off. So I can understand that move, but you have to at least make a call because he's shown he's not like all the other running backs. He's already shown you this.
Right.
So
Now, but is Dallas still like a destination place? That's weird because, I mean, you're in the playoffs every year. You would think, I'm just thinking in my head, you would think that, you're saying, okay, well, they're only, again, a player or two away. I mean, they get 12 wins a year, it seems like, in recent years. It's a low tax state. If Dallas is, you're not going to get any bigger than that. But the last free agent that I knew who wanted to go there, who was the I think the safety played for the Seahawks all those years, part of the Legion of Boom. Yeah, he was like, come get me. That was like the last free agent that I saw. It was like, come get me, Jerry.
The last time.
Let me tell y'all something. I know y'all got high hopes for Dallas Cowboys, but as long as Jerry Jones is y'all owner, y'all go do the same thing every year. Jerry Jones.
Now, speaking,
but again, it's a different Jerry Jones, though. I'm just saying it's a different.
He doesn't draft linebackers. I need linebackers. Y'all need to go ahead and get Ezekiel Elliott back. Y'all have no running game.
So Trey, why? I'm trying to figure out, especially folks on the outside looking, in at the Cowboys.
We're in the Continental, gentlemen.
Why do y'all feel like Jerry Jones is still the issue?
Because Jerry Jones is the GM, and he got too much power on the field. That's the thing. Most owners, they hire GM. He is the GM. So when he come down to the field, motherfuckers' ass is tightened up.
Okay, but he doesn't make those. He doesn't really make the personnel decisions anymore. He doesn't create the roster anymore. He doesn't really do the budget anymore.
Well, his son.
All he is now is just a face.
His son is in control. His son is doing what he's saying.
Now his son,
I told you, his son is not doing what his son is. To be honest, think about the moves that Mr. Bennett just said.
It's too much pressure playing with.
He got the splash. He got these things. If you don't understand, it's like this. And I'll get into the sweat thing next. He's a guy that you didn't make these billions being risky. You grew up with money, so you want to hold on to it. I've heard this theory no more times. So then you get in place. If you Google a Stephen Jones comment, you're gonna hear, "Oh, we only got so much pie." Oh, with the cap, everything is about the cap. He learned under a capologist guy, and so he was learned and trained how to do this position. And so you train, you know how to instinct. Sometimes you just gotta go with the gut feeling, talk to your football guys, and make a move. So you're right in the standpoint. Jerry is a problem of the culture. He's a cultural problem with the Cowboys, with the, basically name, image, and likeness, and trying to do all that type of stuff, and not as much is focused about the football. So you're 100% right on that. Is he day to day doing operations? No, this man is
I
Lady
know,
Eloise.
I know you Cowboys, y'all live and die with the Cowboys, and y'all love and hate the Cowboys. It's just the position that the Cowboys are in. I understand that.
Man,
However,
some fans up
listen,
here live and die, but a lot of us just
So,
accept it because the
Dallas
team has
will
a who
have
is.
a winning record again this year,
yeah,
and they'll maybe win a
they
playoff
gonna
game.
flame out.
But
Maybe.
they
Maybe
have
that's too
to
strong.
they have to make sure that they sign that before the season is over. If they don't,
Yes.
they're gonna be rebuilding. If they let that
I think
go, they're gonna be rebuilding
I'll take it a
because
step further. They got to
y'all have
get
no
him. They
running
got to
back.
get that deal done in August. They have to get that done in August. You don't want that looming over the
So,
team because I think if the season starts, he's going to be too close to free agency, and somebody might just be like and give him just a boatload of money. But real quick to Mr. Bennett to close it up on Savondre Sweat, he is a player that from the NFL people they were worried about his love for football and his maturity. So you get into this situation, and what's worse about it is the young man that was involved in the wreck at him, he was a guy that was a redshirt freshman. He he's from Fort Worth, and so he's a guy that he ended up getting into the transfer portal. And I was like, that from a leader. If I was an NFL GM from a leadership side, I was like, hey, why are you? It's one thing if you get in trouble, near the draft, that's you. Well, why are you in this situation with younger guys? You're supposed to be more of a leader to be like, hey, you going
Correct.
to the league,
Yeah.
you're doing the right thing. That's what kind of stuck out to me was just like, dang, that's a lot of red flags there. The alcohol and the drinking and the driving, and then like from a leadership standpoint, you're supposed to be a pillar of your alma mater. You won, an award, you led the team to a first conference title in a while. That's supposed to mean something. You're supposed to be able to come to the spring game. It's like, hey, this guy about to get drafted. Now you gotta hide your face. Like now, I'm a fan of him, but I've heard that as a run stopper, he's already was kind of not much of a pass rusher. He's
Mhm.
definitely a day three guy. To be honest, Johnny, what you said, he'd be a guy that can day one. I think can come in and help you stop the run and kind of rotate with Mozzie. So you
Right.
might have to use that somebody's dismay of a bad
Right.
situation and use it.
Right. So the question is again, if he falls, like let's say if he falls to the fifth or the sixth because of this, hypothetically, you already
Running the
said
ball.
that you guys need a defensive line. You guys are gonna need a defensive tackle. So if he's there, would Jerry, with the old Jerry or the new Jerry, would they still take a risk on him? Is the
I
talent
don't.
worth it? I mean, he's from Texas. I mean, well, at least he played for the Longhorns. I don't know if he's where he's originally from. He's from Texas originally, so again, he's there. He's local. Again, can you put him in an environment where he could be successful? Is that or is that asking too much?
I think they look for bargains and deals. So I think that's something that they would definitely. It would be one of those like, hey, we need this guy, and I think especially with the new defensive coordinator coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and then the fact that on the base defense side, which base defense is only played about 20% of the time, on a base defense look, they want more of a 3-4 look, so they want somebody that's going to really come up and take up blocks. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
if you watch it, if you just turn on the tape of him, he's taking up blocks, he's beating offensive linemen up,
mm,
and wreaking havoc. So it's a guy I
gotcha.
like, but I would go for it. So I know you have some draft needs there, Mr. Bennett. You want to say
Well,
what
let's
you
get to
think?
Trey. I'll do mine last. Trey, you take
Okay.
the floor. First of all, who's your team again? Who I forgot off the top.
man,
Your Rams?
as a coach, I ain't never really had no team in the past 20 years, man.
Is that right?
I ain't had no team. I
Is that
go for certain players, certain positions, but as far as a team, nah, I like a good game, whether it's 3-0 or 56-52. So I've just been taking that approach. But I'll say this: as far as what I see, I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think they they need to sign their receivers back. I don't know what
hmm
they're gonna do with Odell.
hmm
They just signed one of their key receivers, a young receiver, to an extension. They picked up Derrick Henry, right? So I think that they're going to be a solid team again. I don't know about the defense. We'll see what they do in the draft because they seem to always draft way down on the draft board.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting. I don't know, man. I'm excited about the whole season coming up, man. I'm looking forward to the new players and the moves that players are making and teams are making, man. It's going to be exciting because this draft, shit, it's probably going to be one of the deepest in the quarterback position.
Yeah.
And then you even got linemen. Shit, you talking about the first 20 picks? Shit, gonna be quarterbacks, linemen, and receivers. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out going into next year. So I'm
I hear
excited.
you.
I heard it could be up to 25 offensive players taken, with a lot of them being linemen and quarterbacks.
Yeah. The lineman, it's a deep lineman class. It's a deep wide receiver class. And as far as quarterback, well, let me then ask you this then, in terms of QB, because we know it seems like that the first three quarterbacks that seems to be set in terms of those first three. May and the brother from USC and then
Daniels.
from LSU. So those are the top three. But I think McCarthy's making his way up the board. I've heard him being possibly the Giants taking him at 6. So that's for a guy who I remember going into after the playoffs, after they won the championship, nobody was looking at him as a first rounder. And now they're talking about him possibly going up to 6. So do you think that the hype is real, or do you think he could be that guy in that first round?
I think he's just riding a wave because he's a recent championship winner, because he had some games almost like Jimmy G, as far as he wasn't throwing the ball as much. So if you look at his tape, he doesn't have as much as the other 4 names: Michael Penix, May, Daniels, and Williams. I mean, they look like they made more plays by the arm.
Oh, Knicks made more plays than him.
Yeah, than McCarthy, because there was times their offense. It didn't flatter him at all. So I remember that game where Jimmy G had against the Packers. Well, when they won, he only threw 8 times. Well, McCarthy, I think he had a game where he threw like less than 15 times. And their style of play didn't, prop up his game. So he's clearly riding the momentum of the championship. Hey, it is what it is. But I think those are obviously the top 5 QB prospects in this draft. I think I personally think McCarthy is number 5. I put all the other 4 above him.
Hang on, well, who's your 4th? Who's your 4th?
Penix. Only because his injury history. That's basically it. Other than that,
he's all over the place. I've seen I'm looking at some mocks. They're talking about possibly the Broncos getting, even though they just got, which I don't think is a big thing. They just got the quarterback from the New York Jets. They just signed him, but I don't see if he's going to be nothing but a backup. But I heard him going as high as 12 to the Broncos, or being a second or third day pick. So I don't know. I mean, his status is all over the place at this point.
I think Penix has a higher ceiling than McCarthy, and I think McCarthy. I think if he doesn't work out, I think hell, a GM could potentially get fired over picking him if they pick him over the other 4.
Right.
I don't, compared to the other 4. I can't put him up there, but he's clearly riding this wave. And if you pick him and he don't pan out, I'm like, yeah, you might as well go ahead. You attaching your trailer to him, and hopefully you don't sink or swim.
And it's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna hit you to him.
He's a quarterback, and they desperate. They are desperate for them.
Desperate. They're desperate. They really are. And I feel like,
matter of fact, I'll pick Bo Nix over McCarthy.
Wow.
I will pick Bo Nix over McCarthy.
Wow.
I've seen more from Nix than McCarthy. Maybe McCarthy has the talent, but Michigan definitely did not set him up for success as far as what you can watch on the film. You got to be one of these dudes who has this affinity for McCarthy to look at his film and pick something out. Hey, he can do this, and this. Like you gotta seek that. That's what you want to see. Yeah. But compared to the other dudes, I could just watch this. It don't take an expert to look at Penix and see if this dude is healthy. He can fling this ball all over the field. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Daniels. Hell, even I think he's coming out too. The quarterback for Florida State.
I'm talking about Travis, the one that got hurt.
Yeah, ain't he coming out this year?
He's out. Yeah, he's out, but he's
showing more flash than McCarthy.
I've heard he's like a guy like
But they consider
Yeah,
him a
but
project.
McCarthy, look, he could be another Brady. I mean, he could be a winner. You just never know. I mean,
Man.
But to me, Knicks. My only issue with Knicks is that again, he certainly has a high floor. I just don't know if his ceiling is that high. I mean, I think with some of these other prospects, I think you possibly get more guys. So 24, 25 years old, so he's an older player.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Winky.
to me, he's almost like Kenny Pinkett. I mean, you in college, you in college that long, and whatnot. We probably saw the best of you at that point. I don't know if he can go higher than that. But McCarthy, again, I'm not saying he's going to be Brady, but I'm just saying. But I think that's why a lot of teams are picking up. I think even the Patriots are thinking about moving up to possibly get him. So so he could possibly be a guy, but he gives you a lot more sizzle than Knicks. I think Knicks is like he's old by college standards, and again, if you're an old man in college, just like in any sport, if you're an older player, like these days, if you're a 4-year basketball player, a 4 or 5 year plus type of player, you're probably not going to be that good on the next level. If you were that good, they would have tried to get you a long time ago.
Yeah, for the most part. But I will say this: one thing that I think they have in their favor is Garcia used to have that rule. I forgot what it was. How many snaps the starts a quarterback needs on the college level to be able to accurately evaluate them. And I will say they're much past the threshold. And I think some guys should not leave early. Like I'm not sure how early. I just wasn't a fan of them. How early the Wilson kid left. They went to the Jets. But it's just like Zach Wilson. Yeah, some guys need the extra time to go in the maturity level. Because some of the things I saw from him, and if he was a senior, it's just like yikes. Like not taking that accountability for that game. You guys scored 6 points and lost, or whatever it was. And it's just some guys need to mature. And I don't see it from McCarthy. He could have the intangibles. He could have other stuff. I know he's 5-star prospect and the physical tools, but I've heard Denver is interested. I heard Denver's interested. I heard the Giants are interested. I've seen a lot of mocks go from either JJ McCarthy or the Giants taking a receiver. So it's gonna get real interesting to see who blinks or who trades up, because the Patriots, they need a lot. They probably should trade down.
Yeah.
If they get a quarterback. I was listening to a mock today, and they were like, if you take a quarterback, you're putting those guys in a bad situation. Or they should either trade down or take one of the star receivers there.
Mm-hmm.
At least get a player that can make something happen. Make whatever quarterback he has, feed him the ball, and then just kind of go from there.
Right. Right. Hear you. All right. Well, listen, as far as the Steelers, again, a lot of our needs is what you basically said about the Cowboys. Now, at present, we have no center, like none. Like we got rid of the center from Chicago. We dropped him. Didn't find a center in free agency. A lot of the guys who were in free agency were coming off of injuries or whatever. So we're going in. We need a center. That also said, we also need we need a right tackle, because I think with Broderick Jones, who we drafted last year from Georgia, he played right, but he's naturally on the left side. So that the need right now is to get a right tackle. As well as center. So obviously the big names at center is Jackson Powers Johnson, and also Frazier from West Virginia. Yeah, I think those are like the 1-2 guys. Honestly, though, I'm thinking, because of lines require continuity, I wouldn't mind, even though they need a center. I don't think there's a lot of wiggle room. I think there's guys who are day one starters, but I don't think there's a lot of guys sort of in between there. So I would get the guy Van Pran from Georgia, and my first round pick I would get Mims from Georgia at right tackle. You move Broderick back over to left. You got Van Pran at center. You basically got that Georgia line that won back-to-back national championships. You got continuity, because I always say it's like, definitely having that continuum on the line, building a relationship, that's important. And I would just ride that. But Van Pran, you may be able to get him in like the third or even possibly the fourth round. So I would do my first pick. I would get Mims. I would lock him up. Then I would get the second round. I would either get a wide receiver. We need a legit number one, or a defensive back or safety, because we're certainly shallow. We either need a safety or a slot corner, at the number 2, and then I would go get my center, and then I would just build out the rest. Yeah, they always going to draft a linebacker. That's almost known with them, but they may get a defensive player, whatnot. But I would go in that direction. But I would get those Georgia boys. I get those dogs back together. You build that line up because again, obviously they invested. They got the 2 QBs. Russ is going in more than likely it's going to be your day 1 starter. They got the running game and whatnot. They just need some hogs up front. And with Arthur Smith and his offense, they're going to run the ball heavily. So, you get the big horses up there. Mims, as I said earlier, he's a freakish athlete. Yes, he's got the least experience, only 8 starts. But, again, you can't teach that. The only other guy, if J.C. Lathan is there, you might want to get him. But he's going higher than that. Unless we trade up, I don't think we're going to get him. But I think Mims is going to be around that 16 to 22, kind of like what you guys were sharing with the Cowboys. All these guys are going to be all around that. Grant Barton, he's going to be there. But again, they're talking about him playing center, moving to center. But I don't want any other moves. We tried that the last couple picks where we try to get a guard, and move him to center. I just want a straight up center. So if it's not going to be Jackson Powers Johnson or Frazier from West Virginia or Van Prant, then I don't want it. So we got to get one in the first couple rounds. But I think Van Prant, I think you can allow to slide. I think you can get him in the 3rd, possibly the 4th. But Frazier and Jackson Powers Johnson, they'll definitely be gone by the early 2nd round. So again, if we go, let's say if we do get Mims in the 1st round, we're possibly going to have, because we got 2 3rd round picks, we may have to actually trade one of those, move up into the 2nd round and get a Frazier or whatnot if we think we want them. But I like the idea of continuity, and I love to get those guys together if I could, and I just feel it out that way.
Yeah. What I've heard about, if you look at the tape, like I had one of the guys I like to watch as far as that breaks down it, because it's hard to get that college tape, and he watches it like on his YouTube. He was saying that the guy from West Virginia, Zach Frazier, that if you watch his tape from 2022 when they was playing Texas, because Texas at that time had Sweat, they had I want to say DeAndre Coburn. They had a lot of big guys, a lot of good guys that went that draft and this draft here and coming up. He was moving those guys, absolutely moving them. And I was just like, wow, this is impressive. And he's a name that's not really talked about, that like one of the offensive line gurus that does a lot of work with people. His name just slipped my head. And if I wasn't saying it, I was going to think of it. He's like,
come on. Callahan?
Not Callahan. No, he's a guy that works with the guys outside of it. A lot of NFL people respect him, and they send their guys to train with him. And his name just slipped my mind. But he said that definitely Wilson is the real deal. He's the real deal as far as a center. So it's a bunch of options at center. It's just that it's where do you want the cutoff to be? Because I know as far as the Cowboys fans, I would prefer for them to take one. Make sure you take the premium guy, if you can. It's just that it's so hard, because I know you have a guy that you can't play at left tackle, but it's like, it's kind of risky. Do you want to go with him there? But I say at this point, whoever you have rated best, because that's the one thing that you're supposed to do. I know we've been saying like draft need and do these things. You're supposed to draft that way, and I think that a lot of teams get away from what they should do. Like and like a lot of teams just say, hey, we got to get this, we got to get that, we need this. If a really good player falls to you, you don't know what your needs will be. You don't know how injuries go. So that's what's going to be the most intriguing thing about the draft overall.
That's a good segue. So again, what do you guys? How do you guys approach draft? You draft based on need, or you do best player available? Is that typically your philosophy when it comes to picking guys? Because you got, like I said, we have no center. So yes, we can dance around the edges. We can play cute with it, but again, we got to get a center soon. And right now in this draft, I only see 3 guys who can really fill that spot in terms of being like a day 1 type of guy. And so if you need it, it's your need. And you said you didn't have to get rid of Cole. You let your center go. You could have kept him, or they may even try to bring him back for a reduced salary. You can bring him back, and he can compete for the starting job. But you guys put yourselves in a hole. So it's like, you can't get too tricky with this thing. Yeah. You got to nail it. Otherwise, you're going to have a major problem when the season starts.
There are times when your need has to supersede the best player. Like, for instance, unless Caleb Williams falls to pick 24, the Cowboys don't need to take him. Even if that's the best player Like, and people do it. You can't do that. My thing is, if it comes to the point, if a running back is there, which no running backs are highly rated, and he's there above him, you don't take them. If a receiver drops there, I would say, nah, I would love it, but no, you can't afford to make that pick unless, all right, take this guy. This is the number 2 receiver, but this is the 7th offensive tackle. Why are you reaching to take this offensive tackle here? Find another player that's higher rated. Like I heard a guy, Brent, brought this for the 1053 says all the time. Don't window dress your board. Don't switch tags. Don't just go with what you go. If you scouted this guy, he's here. I'm with that to a certain extent. You take the best player to a certain extent. At this point, hey man, you need to find a way to make the best player an offensive lineman. You need to find a way to squeeze and think, unless he's so lowly rated, because you need those guys up front. Because if you get to, my thing is, for all the doom and gloom of the Cowboys offseason, you get some good linemen, you have a pretty good year. You still got a good quarterback. You still got some good players. You'll be all right. A lot of teams go to the draft and they can make those splashes. I don't want splashes. I want meat and potatoes. I want linemen. I want linebackers. Right. I want defensive linemen, offensive linemen. I want that kind of draft, because those are the guys that, on the flip side, come January, those are the guys that help you win games. That's what I want.
Yeah, the team that dominates the trenches, the team that usually wins the game.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Trey, smile. Trey, you know that. Look at you.
I typically go by needs, but it's a hybrid. You have to know. You can take the approach that you go by needs, but like every team has these players, these high value players that sometimes they don't expect. Because I believe that's what they did with CeeDee Lamb. I believe CeeDee Lamb, he failed to the Cowboys. It was like, hell, get him.
Yeah.
They had another need, but you had a high-ranking player, and he failed to snag him up, and they haven't regret that decision. So go with your
You know what the pick was, right?
Who was
Lebron Trason. Lebron Trason was the guy they were going to take, because that was the highest edge that they had, was Lebron Trason. And I would have been upset, because everything I saw from him I didn't like. And right now, he might still be with the Jaguars, he might not. So
that pick definitely worked out for him. So I think every team goes by needs. Because really the only team that has the flexibility to go by need or best available is really the number 1 overall pick.
Right.
That's what the Texans did back when they got Javion Clowney. He was just the best overall player at the time. He was, the highest ranking.
Coming out, he was, freakish athlete. I mean,
I forgot who they had. They had Mario. Well, I think Mario Williams already left.
Right.
But
he left it.
Yeah, so it just depends. You go by needs, but they have their rankings of players. If this particular player who is normally high ranked falls to you, you pick them. So
gotcha.
It's a hybrid. I think it's just a hybrid.
Trey Ferg, any thoughts on that in terms of draft? How would you approach the draft? Do you go with your needs first, or your best player available? If a guy falls to you, is that hard for you to turn down, or you address the needs first?
I've always been one that looked at it as needs first.
Gotcha.
If I if I have a high draft pick and I don't need, the potential player that could be like a top quarterback or receiver, I would definitely trade for the players that I need if I've already have a core in place. I think that's where the NFL sometimes, falls short. They give your ass 1 or 2 years and like, all right, okay, it's time to get rid of you.
Yeah.
And you can see it, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, how they've been doing a lot of the quarterbacks. It's a win now game.
Yeah.
I thought Mac Jones would be the heir to Tom Brady, but here he has traded to be a backup, and he had an injury. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
I'm mostly on the knees bandwagon also. The only thing that may change that is, I don't know if you guys heard earlier today, St. Brown from Detroit got a $30 million a year contract, because they were talking about guys, Ayuk possibly being on the trading block, and you got these wide receivers out there that's still Jefferson. He's still gonna hold down for a contract. So you could be talking about in the near future wide receivers being $40-50 million contracts. So if you're going to have to pay these guys down the line, if you do get like an A.D. Mitchell or something like that falls into your lap, you may have to take them, because to pay your guys the type of money that a lot of these skill positions are going to be commanding, I can understand in that situation why BPA might be the way to go, especially if you got a guy going to a second or third year and you know that big money contract is going to be coming up. So I think the money part is a factor that every NFL team has to deal with, and so that is becoming more of a reality where the receiver market just broke open right now. So
I mean, but let me ask you this: don't y'all think the players should benefit from the rise in revenue of each team? Play like I said, players are signing record contracts now. 60-70 million dollars guaranteed. Over a
Well,
course.
yeah. I mean, I'm glad they're getting it, but every team has a cap that they has a hard cap that they got to deal with. So from a manager's point of view, like I say, you go into the draft again. If you got a third year player who's about to try to get that big money, but you see a stud wide receiver in the draft, then even though you might have needs at other positions, you understand that price tag's coming up. So you may strategically, get that one and then worry about the needs later, or try to fill the need in the lower round of the draft. Especially when you talk about non-skill positions, a lot of times teams try to find those gems then. But that is a reality when you're going to have to pay somebody the big contract.
But then, are you trying to win? Or are you just trying to save some money? It comes.
I think as a team, I think it's both, right? I mean,
but
it's
all about the show now. It's not about. It's really not about the game. It's more about the show because it's becoming a passing league.
Mm-hmm.
They phasing 2 years from now. Running back shit. They gonna sign after they rookie deal. They're just gonna be like fucking free agent Will, just a 1 year contract here, 1 year contract there, and it's really gonna hurt the game to me. I mean, for non-football players, it may seem like it's exciting, but I don't know, man. As a football player and a coach,
well, they did the same thing to basketball when they tried to, coming out that bad boy era, especially with the Pistons. People didn't want to watch this, tackling rough and tough basketball players.
Well, it wasn't the people. It's more so the owners because now they are more. It's like
they were saying that the people wasn't the fan base was not. Nah. They want to see skills. But they didn't want to see all rough and tough all the time.
I don't think. So, but that was only like, if you look at Detroit, that was one. It wasn't like every year that they were playing that way.
Well, Detroit, I believe, was like the last.
Yeah, that 03, was that 2003, 2004.
The generation before was kind of playing like that too. So they just started phasing that out, and then once you started seeing them focus more on the skill sets of players.
But
that's when you saw the growth of basketball really take off and it ultimately evolved today. They want to see these skills.
But there is no skill in today's game. These guys are walking.
I think a lot of them are more skilled than they were in the past.
They're not skilled.
No, the defensive side. We talked about that around the All-Star the All-Star game weekend. Defense in the NBA. In fact, we can even transition there. I think we talked about the draft enough. We got the NBA playoffs obviously going on, and so we can talk about the where we are with that. Any surprises for you guys? I know the Knicks. It looks like they're about to bounce the 76ers.
I'm peeking at this Heat game. They got now it's a 6-point game.
Yeah. I think the Celtics they'll pull away a little bit later on. Especially again, no Jimmy buckets playing for the Heat, so I just don't think they're going to have the firepower down the line. And obviously the Lakers have been a bit of a disappointment. They've had leads in the last game. They had a 20-point lead on Denver, and they just couldn't hold it. So again, this might be LeBron's swan song in L.A. You never know what's going to go on there. But any surprises so far? Any of these matchups that you guys are eyeing that could be competitive? I know the Mavericks and the Clippers are tied at 1-1.
That surprised me that they lost. The Mavs lost game 1. I got them winning the series, but to have Kawhi out and then Celea just a complete egg.
They won big. It wasn't a close game. I mean, it was pretty dominant through that half. So
the Knicks Sixers series, that's been that game 2 is a good one, and I'm curious, what do y'all believe? Do y'all believe the Sixers got cheated after that game? Now, I know that with the Lakers, I know after they lost the game, I think LeBron he started mentioning stuff about the refs, but we didn't really want to hear that about the Lakers because y'all did have a 20-point lead.
They blew the lead.
Yeah, y'all blew the lead. I know there's some calls that didn't go their way at one time, but y'all did blow a 20-point lead. The Knicks Sixers game was going back and forth, and then that whole 8 points in 25 seconds. It greatly came when they made the 3-pointer and then the inbound when Maxey, got just beat up, and they came back with this 2-minute report after the game, which I don't know why the NBA do that. Because that's going to go back and have them play the last 2 minutes. It's just, it's like basketball, especially I see it in baseball. Like the umpires, it's like they have this power to determine the outcome of a game, and clearly you can see it more obvious in baseball, and really nothing is really done about it. I mean, it's backlash towards them, but I guess the punishment they get, because they graded after every game too, so I guess they can't go call a playoff game, but yeah, I believe that Knicks Sixers game was a good one, but I believe the Sixers got robbed on that one just because that was a back and forth game. But they didn't really complain like that. They acknowledged it and they moved on compared to the Lakers was kind of complaining and it was like, oh, y'all can't get the benefit of the doubt on that.
Yeah, not when you're up 20. So yeah,
you can't. I don't want to hear none of that.
Yeah, I can't give you that. I can't give you that. I am a little surprised that. I mean, I know the Timberwolves. I know they're a very good team, but I just think the Suns are just really disappointing. You got two great players on that team that they're not showing any fight here. It looks like
because that's one I'm looking at. Maybe we can talk about that one next week because of this. That series contains KD.
Yeah,
and if they happen to go because during the regular season it was flip flop. The Suns had the T. Will's number, but now obviously it's different. And if KD, it gets swept is one thing, but just losing this first round.
Yeah. I mean, and Booker, to me, Booker is almost like Tatum. You know what I mean? In the playoffs, he has some very iffy performances. He's not always going to say he can explode for 50 in any game. But then in the playoffs, sometimes he wilts under that. So that like I said, it's definitely he's been that duo I thought would do a lot better together than they put out. That has surprised me a little bit.
You can't just put big names together and expect them.
That is true.
And this is where it goes back to that skill that I was talking about because players today cannot adjust to the game. You got 3 high volume shooters. 3. That should look good in the regular season. Playoff, it doesn't work because everybody's trying to shoot. And if you watch Phoenix play, everybody's one-on-one. It's a one-on-one game. There's no skill. Where's your passing? Where's your cutting? Where's your
I heard a good analysis about that one. The Suns do have good one-on-one players, but they come out playing one-on-one basketball. So, it may be successful early in the game, but by the fourth quarter, the other team, they already seen you doing this. They know how to defend it by the fourth quarter come. By the beginning of the game, get the flow of your offense going first. Let that work. And then when the fourth quarter comes, okay, here's the rock, take us there. Now you can do your one-on-one and dominate one-on-one.
Right.
So if you do that in the beginning of the game, you give the team
there's no adjustments.
Especially they go into the halftime, you give them time to make the defensive adjustments, and then you don't have nothing by the time, it's crunch time. One-on-one, they know how to defend that now. And then you don't have no pull to your offense, so you screwed.
Shawnee, where is the skill? Where is the skill in that? Everybody can fucking shoot a jumper. Everybody can.
So you will think just player by player, they are not skillful today than they were in the past.
The fundamentals
big
are
man
gone.
Shooting threes. Some big men have handles.
No one's playing defense though. I mean, yes, the big men are
offensive skills. Yeah, offensive.
I'm saying, but that's defense is a skill also. And if you got to teach on both sides of the ball. But
it's a part of the whole package. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I mean by skill. There are no more Michael Jordans. Yeah. Okay.
First of all, shout out to Mandrell. Shout out, thank you for joining us tonight.
No problem. I'm going to get to the real subject. Yeah, I got off the real sport. You know what I'm saying? One of the real sports, God's sport, that is football. I got off that for some reason. I don't know why.
All right, well let me set it up first. I think again, we're early into the NBA playoffs, and it seemed like the teams are falling the way we all expected them to.
Yeah, it's predictable. And you talking about there's no skill? No, not we can tell. Not we can accurately predict what's going on. Everyone can.
Skill, though, like I was mentioning earlier, it's offensively skilled. Yeah, of course, defense. They are, like I say, everybody doing the Mike D'Antoni system.
Right.
4 7 seconds or less.
But the thing is, if you don't have any defense, you're trash.
Yeah.
You're a glass cannon. You're a glass cannon. All the offense in the world, but you can't stop the opposing team from scoring.
That's just how the league is.
But that game has messed up even the younger generation of basketball players. Everybody's coming out shooting these ugly ass jump shots. Everybody Steph Curry at age 9, they're developing ugly jump shots. There's no form. It's like shit. Some dudes can't even fucking dive in a pool and they're trying to shoot a 35-foot jump shot. It doesn't make sense. I go to the courts and watch young guys play. Everybody's walking because you cannot take 2 steps. Like
they're not conditioned. They can't breathe.
But the Euro step, I think the Euro step I can't stand the Euro step.
The Euro step is on.
I can't stand the Euro step. I mean, they should ban that from the league. That's the ugliest.
I was doing that in the 80s, man.
I hate it.
I never liked it. They was called, even though it's not a travel. I saw Dominique Wilkins. I saw him doing the Euro step, and they called a travel. When he told him, he was like, "I took 2 steps." And it was just like it was form.
2 leaps and not 2 steps.
I'm not surprised to hear you say that. I'm not surprised to hear you say that.
So. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the title banner for tonight. So obviously this weekend you had a major fight, which for weeks I've been following it since they announced it. And honestly, I wasn't sure that we would even get to the fight, just given the erratic behavior of Ryan Garcia. So again, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, they fought Saturday night in the Barclays in Brooklyn for the I think it was the WBC 140-pound super lightweight championship. And going into the fight, you had Ryan Garcia, certainly through his social media, certainly, and even through the press conferences, very erratic behavior. Almost, again, I'm not a doctor, but I don't know if you want to call it bipolar or whatever. He was praising Jesus one minute and saying, I'll suck you or whatever, in the next minute or whatever. Just very Jekyll and Hyde the whole time. And I guess he had some of the folks, had a lot of folks fooled. In terms of behavior, he came out as the crazy person. The fight really didn't sell out until like the week of the fight. Because I think that, his tactics, he might have been thinking, okay, well, this will help to sell the fight. But honestly, a lot of people were turning away because people were thinking Devin going into the fight, he was a 6-1 favorite. In fact, Garcia bet $2 million on the fight, bet on himself, and won $12 million. Because of the 6-1. So I think a lot of people, because of his erratic behavior, were turned away from the fight. It really didn't sell out until literally that week of the fight, which is what you never want. You want a fight to sell out early and build a hype from it. But he goes in there and, prior to the fight even getting there, more controversy at the weigh-in. He comes in 3.5 pounds overweight.
Has to pay $100.
And at the day of the fight, he comes in at 165, okay? Devin comes in at the 140-pound limit, and for most observers, they said he looked gaunt. Like the cheeks were sucked in and everything, so he might have did too much to get there. But nevertheless, there's clauses and conditions. Now, usually, especially in a fight of that magnitude, at those lighter weights, they say if you come in 5 pounds overweight, the fight is canceled. If you come in 2 pounds overweight, they give you some time to lose the weight before you and reweigh yourself. So that 3 pounds that he came in, and we found out later he intentionally did that. It could have been partly because, again, the conditions he had to have from the Tank Davis fight, where he fought at 136. That was a set limit, and they also set the amount he could rehydrate to. I think might have been 150. It was his rehydration weight. So this time he went in and said, look, I'm not dealing with those terms anymore. And I'm going to, so he intentionally came on the scale drinking a beer, right? So he just refused to come in. So, coming into the fight, he was bigger than Devin, caught Devin early in the fight, and Devin was rocked from that point on. But again, Devin run some rounds. I think he might have won like the next 4 or 5 rounds. He won those rounds, but Ryan caught him again in the later rounds, and somehow he survived. The ref possibly could have stopped the fight in the later rounds, but they went to a decision. Ryan wins wins the unanimous decision in the bout. So so a lot of people are saying now, where do we go from here? Ryan, his star shot up. Honestly, I was kind of disgusted, not only with the promotion, I was disgusted with the fact that, again, when you come in intentionally overweight, that's a disrespect to the sport. And I'm not a fan of Ryan Garcia because of that. But obviously, a lot of people saying that, obviously he's a big social media guy. He got a lot of followers. So, he might be controlling the cards, at least at the division, and possibly even 147. But I wanted to invite Mandrell, since he's certainly a fight fan, and he's a practitioner, and I just wanted to get your 2 cents on what you thought of the of the contest. That we can, for those, did everyone get a chance to see the fight or the highlights, or you guys?
No, I was busy that day, so I didn't get a chance.
You guys, okay. So Mandrell, so I want to get your take on what you saw leading up to the fight, the weigh-in, and the fight itself, and where do you think these guys go from here? I mean, Devin took a lot of damage in that fight, but where do you think these guys go from here? So take it however you want to take it.
Okay, the antics before the fight, they were just that, antics. He was doing that on purpose. Garcia was. Like you, Mr. Bennett, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of him either. I think you and I've talked about him once before, like a long time ago. You asked about, but like before when they were just actually kind of, because it's inevitable. We knew this fight was going to happen sometime in the future.
Right.
I remember you mentioned it to me and asked me who do I think would win. I thought Haney would win, and I maintained that until fight night. Yeah. I thought Haney was good. I thought Haney had it. I was wrong, But and then at the way he's drinking the beer, that wasn't beer. It wasn't beer. Yeah. He fooled everybody.
It might as well have been. The fact that he came in 3.5 pounds overweight, it might as well have been beer. What difference would it make if it was beer or not?
Well, when you get in the ring, that you feel that beer.
Well, you wasn't feeling it that night.
Yeah, like I say, it wasn't beer. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't beer. There's no way it was beer. You move like that. You have a fight like that against a world champion. That wasn't beer. You know what I mean? Because Garcia is not that good. Garcia is not going to drink beer and clown around like that and then get in the ring with a world champion like Devin Haney and then perform that well. Mm-hmm. He ain't going to do that, So the antics up to the fight I wasn't a fan of, just like you. And I thought Haney was going to win anyway before that. But then when I was watching the fight and I saw him get caught, and here's the thing. Shout out to Ryan Garcia. He beat Haney and he beat the ref and the judges. They actually tried to take that fight from him.
Right.
They gave a lot of grace to Haney. Again, I'm calling it like I see it. I call a striker striking the ball a ball.
Right.
I wanted Haney to win, but not like that. Mm-hmm. There was another 2 knockdowns that I saw. Jeff Mayweather said he's like, no, he said there's a knockdown that the ref didn't call. I said there was 2 of them. 2 knockdowns that the ref called a slip. I thought they were knockdowns myself. That's what I saw. But the ref gave it to him as a slip. He gave Garcia, he took a point away from Garcia without giving him a warning first, which is not cool. You don't do that. One of the judges called it a draw. I don't know what he's thinking. Because 3 knockdowns, it doesn't matter if you win all the rounds. Because even if Haney had won like the vast majority of the rest of the rounds, 3 knockdowns, it's automatically a draw.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, with those three knockdowns, it was automatically a draw. So all he had to do was knock him down 3 times and win 1 more round, and he was done. Which he had already won a round before the 3 knockdowns.
True.
So once the 3 he had won a round, but after the 3rd knockdown, it was over. Haney had lost at that point.
No, it was like I'm surprised they could have stopped the fight then. I thought.
Yeah, they could have, but they didn't want the whole puncher's chance thing. They did the same.
But that's the thing. He doesn't have a punch. See, and that's the thing.
Right.
Look, Ryan,
Right.
I'll give Ryan credit. I mean, Trey in the back, he's thinking. He says I'm hating. I'm not hating on him. Like I said, I'm calling the way I see it. Also, look, the man is very fast. He has very blinding hand speed, and he has a devastating left hook. That left hook is one of the best in boxing. So I'll give him credit for both of those. But you got to have the power to keep him, to make him respect you. Haney is not known as a power puncher. You know, that last fight with Prograis, everybody was saying, okay, he's moving up to 140 because he was struggling to fight at 135. So he moved up. He was bigger. He was stronger. And, you know, yes, he had that performance against Prograis, but again, he didn't knock him out. So unless you have the power to make Ryan respect you, Ryan, who didn't always fight in the fight, you know, he picked his spots. Like when he decided to attack, you know, he affected Devin, but Devin wasn't going to be able to fire anything back at him to keep him off or to make him respect him. So that the puncher's chance argument goes out. Now, if it was the other way around, I would consider giving Garcia an opportunity because he does have a puncher's chance. He can take you out with one punch. But you know, Haney, you know, again, if he's not boxing you, all he does is box jab. And I think I'll give Garcia credit in terms of his strategy. I think he rested a little bit. He was like looking the way he was acting the night of the weigh-in. He's like, all right, let's just get this quick money and let's get out of here. I think he did a little pause, like, and he got caught early in the first round, that left hook, and he was basically drunk the rest of the fight.
Yeah,
so,
he was getting caught with it a lot too.
So I just think he let up, thinking that, you know, he bought the act, and I think it cost him. And then he tried to fight him, whereas his best punch is his jab and his footwork, his body punches. And he was going to box if he tried to trade. But I think after he got rocked, then he decided more he wanted to trade. And again, you don't trade with him unless you got the power to make it. Like Tank Davis, he was able to make him pay for it, even though he was dehydrated, you know, at 150 or whatever it was in the fight or whatever. Tank has one punch knockout power. You have to respect that. And the fact that Ryan didn't respect that is the reason he got knocked out.
Yep.
But Haney, you have to be disciplined from round one to the end of the fight to win. He did not do that. He got caught early. He thought he had to. Now he's got to fight him instead of boxing him, and it wound up costing him. At the end, at the end of the fight.
And the thing is, that's instinct. Honestly, if you're if you punch drunk, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Your instinct is like, holy shit, because you know what's going on. You're telling your body to do something, and it's not doing it.
Correct.
Like literally, you fellas, I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but it here's how I describe it. You're fully aware of what's going on, just as you are now. As conscious as you guys are now, that's how you feel. However, you tell your left leg to move forward, your right arm goes out to the side. It's like wait, hold on.
It's like in the Terminator, like your targeting system got thrown off.
Like,
so you're trying to shoot like the Terminator, but you shooting over there when the target is right in front of you. Yeah.
You aim for his nose, and then like a left hook will come out. It's like, wait, no, I'm not trying to do this. Wait, that's not what I want to do. It's weird. You can't. People like, I can't see. It's like, no, you can see. It's just it's doing this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the whole room's spinning. It's a weird feeling because you're fully awake. You know, so other than the weird stuff going on, you know what's going on. You can spell your own name, you can say your ABCs, the whole nine. But it's just it's weird. I think you're standing in front of me, but you're actually over to the left. It's weird, man. It's weird. But that's what was happening to Haney. I think it was more damage than that, to be honest. Because I think he had that whole room spinning feeling. Like you say, he was drunk.
Yeah.
You know, the whole rest of the fight. Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to be careful because you got a person, one punch can make a difference. And I think that's what the ref was trying to do, trying to give Haney a chance, you know, to come back and put something together. They did the same thing with Wilder when he fought Fury
Tyson
in that
Fury.
Second fight. Yeah, in the second fight.
Yeah.
The first
really,
fight,
the third one, really, because they could have stopped that fight early. I mean,
but here's the thing.
He had the knockdowns early, and but later on the fight, after round 9, they could have stopped that any time too. He had nothing left.
Yeah, but the thing is, if it's a fight like that, you don't stop it. That's a fight you don't stop because both of them. If you notice, those guys, they're not. And I said this after that fight, Mr. Bennett. If you remember, I said they will never be the same after that, and they're not.
Right.
Those two guys are not the same. That's because they literally left a piece of themselves in the ring that night. That's the fight, fellas. Tyson Fury Wilder 3. I don't know if y'all saw it, but if you haven't watched the full fight, YouTube it or something, that's a fight you pay your money to see. That was Rocky versus Apollo Creed type stuff, man. That's a fight you pay your money to see. Both men put it all out there. They gave it their all. You know what I'm saying? And Wilder, he lost, but he lost like a man that night.
Yeah, that's the one I was upset. I was upset with myself. I bought the second fight, and I was so disappointed. And I was just like, he's fighting him again. I didn't have any confidence. And I saw all Twitter was just like, this is the fight we wanted for. And I said, God damn it.
Yes, it is. That is the fight you pay your money to see. Mad at myself. Yeah, like I said, that's the fight you pay your money to see right there. They both. I don't know what's up with Tyson Fury. Well, he's not going to beat Usyk. That's number one. He's not. Again, he left too much in the ring against Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be the same.
I don't know. Just Usyk, he's so much bigger than Usyk, though. I mean, I don't see Usyk taking him out. I mean,
I don't see Usyk knocking him out.
That's to me that's still a 50-50 fight. At this point, I mean, Usyk definitely has the skills to pay the bills, no question about it, and he's very deceptive with his power. I mean, he's almost like you get in there and it's just like you forget how to fight. He's got that kind of style that it's hard to set up your punches on him. It's hard to get a body on him. He's just got a way about him that you just don't fight your best fight.
Like you said, it's because his defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does have skills. My thing is Fury. He's not the same guy. He's not. So and Usyk, look at what happened to the 2 times he fought AJ.
Yeah. Well, look, you're the one who says AJ can't fight at all. So don't go defending AJ now.
I'm not defending. AJ. I'm not defending him, but I still stick to that. AJ can't fight. Okay, what y'all say? I don't care what y'all say. AJ
but you kill AJ, so you can't say that Usyk. If he couldn't fight going in, he definitely wasn't going to be able to fight.
Usyk took AJ to college, didn't he? I'm just saying. Look.
All right.
But and then with Wilder also, right? They kind of do the same thing with him because he actually does have one punch knockout power.
Right.
It saves him all the time. He gets up, right cross, you're out. Mm-hmm. Sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Although he looked awful in his last fight. I know he's fighting the Asian guy Zhali Zhang in Saudi Arabia. That fight's coming up I think sometime in June. So they brought him back, but he looked so bad against Parker. I'm like, you should have. I think my man, he was smoking it. He was doing his ayahuasca. He was in his happy place. He should have stayed there. I'm like, you dumb, bro. You don't, because again, when you don't want this anymore, then you shouldn't be putting yourself through that stuff.
Exactly, and that's the thing. He's got millions in the bank. He's taking care of his money. He's taking care of his family. He doesn't need it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And that's the thing with him. He had a 10 title defenses successful. Consecutive successful title defenses as heavyweight champion. So he has nothing else to prove other than going to be undisputed.
I really like him as a fighter.
You like who as a fighter?
Wilder.
Well, Wilder's not a fighter. So
I'm just saying, why watching him fight?
He's not. I'm saying he's not a boxer. He's a fighter. He's not a boxer.
He's a puncher. Wilder can't. Yeah. That's another one. He can't fight. If he could fight, Tyson Fury would have definitely lost that first fight.
Look, he's got arguably the greatest right hand in boxing. I would have said before that. I would have said Tommy Hearns. Maybe it's up to Hitman Hearns or whatever. But I mean, his right hand is.
Oh my God!
It doesn't matter round 1 to round 12. He can get you out of there with one punch. Yeah. But the last fight he had absolutely nothing. Awful. Yeah, absolutely nothing. So
and I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's doing his training. I don't know if he took that fight seriously. I don't think so.
No. Well, he even said it even in the hype up to the fight. He was like he was in a haze. He's on his ayahuasca. He's doing his naturals. He's in his happy place. But, if you're going to be a fighter, you got to have that angry spot. Now, the guy he's about to fight, Zhali Zhang, now he lost, I thought a controversial loss to Parker. He knocked Parker down twice in that fight. I thought he did enough to win it. It was, I think people were surprised at the decision. But that guy's got power. And so if Wilder is not going to be on his A game, he's looking to knock him out. And I gotta give him a shout out too. My man lives in Jersey, Bloomfield, New Jersey, right up the street here. So that's a dangerous fight for Wilder because this guy, I saw what he did to this other British fighter that everybody's hyping up. He knocked him out twice.
Wait, stop it. He's a British fighter. That don't count. He's a British fighter. That don't count. Look, again, we're talking about AJ. He lost to a guy from.
I didn't say AJ. No, who thinking I'm talking about that?
Like, I know, but you're talking about British fighters. They all have the same style. That Euro, saying classical.
They haven't even so they haven't evolved. Boxing started in Britain.
Yeah.
They haven't evolved since 1890.
Exactly. That's why they come to America. They get up against a black fighter, an African American black fighter. They get that work. Black fighters over here laugh at European fighters. We do. Yeah. Bro, listen. Black African Americans made a quantum leap of boxing. Quantum leap of boxing. You know what I'm saying?
You did have that one guy who retired undefeated. Who's the guy who beat Roy Jones? He was at 168.
I don't know.
His name's off the top of my head.
I forget his name.
Yeah, but he lost. Yeah, he beat Roy Jones. Lennox Lewis. Yeah. Well, see, but he's not even that. So what? He's from Canada. His family's from Jamaica. Then he in the Olympics he fought for Canada, and then he moved to the UK. So I don't know.
He's not actually a European boxer.
I don't know if I would count Lennox Lewis as a British fighter.
Yeah, he's not a British fighter. Yeah, AJ, Anthony Joshua, that's a British fighter.
That's a British fighter, yeah. I'll give you that. But where do we go from here, just as we...
Where do we go from here? The rematch, obiously. They are going to have a rematch.
They should, not right away.
Here's the thing. Here's why. Yes, he needs an immediate rematch. I'll explain why. Now, look, number one, Buddy comes in 3 pounds overweight, right? Garcia. So
and he would do it again. I don't think he cares.
But he can't win the title that way.
I don't think he cares. That's the thing. At this point, with the followers that he has, he's at this point right now, regardless of how he did, which I didn't like the way he went about it, he is one of the top 3 draws in boxing right now. Him, Tank Davis, and maybe and I can't even say Crawford. Crawford is like the most skilled, but he's not the attraction. People aren't going buying pay-per-views. Oh, and my man, the Mexican star,
Alvarez.
Canelo. He's in that category already. So he doesn't need a title at this point. I don't think he could. I think he would do the same thing again. He said, "Look, here, take my 1.5 million, take my $2 million or whatever." The problem is, I don't think he can handle 140 anymore. Because he came in, if you saw him the night of the fight, his cheeks was sunken in. He was drawn. Yeah, he was already suffering.
Yeah, I've been saying that he needs to move up.
That's what I'm saying. So if they fight again, it definitely needs to be at 147. If they fight at all, and then but even then he's not going to have the power. So and he better be more alert this time in terms of if he fights him again. I think he certainly took the foot off the gas. I think he definitely overestimated Ryan coming in. He can't do that again. But again, he needs to definitely. It's got to be at 147 if they're going to fight at all. And even then, I don't think he's going to care. Now, at 147, I think that's where all the action is. Because, again, you got Crawford who could be there. Boots Ennis just signed with DAZN. So if they wanted to, Ryan could fight Boots Ennis right now since it's all on the same network on DAZN. He's there. They can fight. You still have the guy Crawford beat. Spence. So there's a lot of action at 147. I think Boots is the future of the division. But again, he's got no star power. He's got the skills, but for some reason, he's not a draw. He had major issues with the PBC and the way he was promoted. Hopefully, Eddie Hearn can give him the platform to where he can, really flourish. But that has to cook a little bit before in order for that fight to happen. But I think Crawford, you could do something with. Yeah. You want to do Garcia Crawford. I think that's most likely.
Not gonna happen. Garcia wouldn't take that fight. No way. I bet you $1 million Garcia runs away from that fight.
But you would get the Saudis will pay $100 million for that fight.
Why? It's another slaughter, just like Crawford Spence. I'm saying Crawford's a fighter. If you don't get him out of there in the fourth
You're gonna
round,
make. How many eyeballs are gonna be watching the fight though? How
No
many
one's
eyeballs
gonna
are gonna
watch.
be watching?
I don't want to
Yeah, they
watch
will.
murder
Yeah, they will.
on my TV.
Ryan's gonna bring his crowd, and everybody knows how skilled Crawford is. Again,
Yeah,
so you're
but
gonna have that. You're gonna have that
talking about
match.
watching murder on television, an actual murder. Crawford's gonna kill that kid. I'm just like, I mean, that's the most.
Now, Black Man saying he wants to see Crawford versus Tank. I don't know. Tank is too small.
Yeah,
I mean,
Tank way too small.
Tank's 5'5", 135 pounds soaking wet. He could probably bump up to 140. He already said I'm not fighting past 140. So I can't. I think he'd be too small at that point. He may take a fight at 147, and then you also still have Shakur. Now Shakur is not the most entertaining fighter in the world. You know, he was awful in his last performance, but he's still going to be a factor. I think he could certainly move up to 140, 147 and be competitive. I think he certainly would have been a lot more competitive than Haney in terms of skill set. I think he's got that certainly enough. I don't think he would have got caught the way Devin did. But again, he has no power. So Ryan's going to keep coming at him, and he's just going to have to fend him off. But I think he has the skills to keep him off. But he's boring as heck. I mean, you know, he doesn't have a crowd pleasing style.
I tell you what, if Inoue was able to move up in weight, that would be trouble.
We're only up to now. If Tank stays up, if he moves up to 135, then him and Tank at 135. That's going to be a fight.
Moves up, that's going to be a
because he's at 126 right now. Right. He moves up.
Inoue is a Japanese fighter.
Correct.
And he's killing people in the
ring.
Absolutely destroying people.
Yeah.
Okay. He does old school moves, man, like a heart punch.
Yeah.
Where you punch someone in the heart, and it makes your heart jump. It makes you jump a little bit like this, like because your heart kind of skips a beat, and it leaves you open for whatever that person wants to do. Like I saw Inoue give the guy a 2-piece heart punch, left hook, bow, sleep. I'm talking about you can hear this guy snoring. Like from watching it on TV, you hear the guy snoring on the mat. Inoue is dangerous. Like if he,
but that's that to me. That's the only action for Tank going down.
Tank needs to move up,
but
man.
But moving up to 140, 147. I just don't see a future for him. I just think he's too. I think he's too.
Here's the thing: he may not be able to take those punches, but he has to do something because there's no one else for him to fight in his division.
Well, like I said, in a way, I think I would focus more on that. Or if you want to fight Shakur, I think that's a possible fight there. But again, these guys are too big. These guys are already outgrowing their bodies. These guys are all like welterweights and light middleweights at this point. He's just not that guy. So I think he needs to kind of stay where he is. But I think when we're near the end of the show, I think if folks want to go around again, sorry guys, we kind of dominate. The reason I brought Mandrell on because I knew he would bring the smoke when it came to the boxing. You know, we're huge fans, and who knows, maybe in the future, like especially as the big fights come up.
Wilder is not a fighter.
He's not. He's a puncher.
Well, I say he's certainly not a boxer. He doesn't have that. He only started boxing like at 18, 19 years old. I mean, by that time, generally it's
no, he was in his early 20s.
Even later than that. Yeah, he only got into fighting because his daughter was sick.
But the thing is, my point about this, like with Wilder, is that he knows he has the power and he relies on it. Every time he fights, he looks for the one punch.
Mm-hmm.
He's not putting combinations together. He's not working the ring. He just looks for an opportunity to throw that big right hand, and that is it.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Well, look, he did it 42 out of 43 times. So,
and then
if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then look, but it come to the end of the line. The guy's almost 40 years old now. So again, it's coming to an end.
The same state that he does. You know what I'm saying? I know the people he's fighting: plumbers, car salesmen.
Hang on. Most of these guys fight that. Most of these guys fight that. Come on now. Most boxers, again, 25. You build your record up at 25-0 before you get your first title defense. Your first 15, 17 opponents are taxi drivers. You only fight a few guys for real. So that happens. Mike Tyson, all those guys who's fighting in the early days on ESPN. Yeah, all those guys, they just came off the truck, sipping a beer or something like that. He just knocked them out. So, but listen, guys.
He actually had real contenders that he fought before he became heavyweight champion. He actually did.
Not early on. I watched every ESPN fight. He was on fighting every week, every 2 weeks. He was on ESPN. All those fights early on. none of those guys were the
Not
real
everyone,
deal.
not all. I agree with you. Not all of them. There was a couple of them that were actual contenders, and then he fought before he became champion. He fought Joe Frazier's son.
Yeah, he fought Marvis Frazier on ABC
and destroyed him.
Really?
Y'all want to see
They what's going on right now?
Yeah.
It was good.
Again, we talked. Did we mention this? We don't want to see murder on our television. Okay, you want to see Black David dead, don't you? That's messed up, Black man.
Really?
All right. So we're picking early odds now, Mandrell. So let's go around. All right. So Shawnee, what do you think, Mandrell versus Black David?
Oh, you're gonna be in your.
Now what are we doing? Is this a boxing match or is this MMA? Because both you guys are skilled in both. You guys have done both jiu-jitsu and all that. So what are we doing here? What are the stakes? Is this boxing or MMA here?
Don't matter to me.
I don't. You know, I try to flip the coin. I saw no action of either one of them, so I just flip a coin, and whatever the coin say goes. I have no idea.
I'm going with Mandrell.
Going with Mandrell.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going with no footage.
I got Black David in 2. Got Black David in
2 rounds.
Yeah, 2 rounds.
Sad.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. Listen, I bet you $2 million. I have my damn for.
Mandrell gonna come in overconfident.
Man, please, no, not in the ring.
Yeah.
In the ring.
Who's gonna break first? Because we all know. Look, I love Black David, but he has a temper though. Mandrell gets you upset. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want you to do the Tyson Holyfield thing. I don't want you to bite his ears off or anything like that. So be cool, bro. You know. I don't want that to happen. So.
When you get him mad, that's it. I got you.
Please don't make me angry.
You're pissed off, not me.
His name is David, so like David Banner. So,
right,
so
David
again,
Banner, exactly.
Please don't make me angry, man.
Just to give y'all a quick update, Heat just won that game. So
get out. They came back up.
No, they was up majority. They made they won, but they made 23 3-pointers.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, they were crazy. They was hitting everything. So
oh no,
Mr. Ben.
See this.
Oh no, that might be a 50-50 fight.
My money.
Man, you want this like that?
I give the advantage to Mr. Bennett because he actually
what?
He's in better shape. He's in better condition.
I take our pain in.
There you go. My money don't make it.
Wait, hold on. That's our pain. Oh no, man! Listen, that's the first round knockout.
OG.
I don't know why.
I'm going with the OG.
Yeah, I guess our pain.
Look, he'll outlive me. He won't outfight me. But
right.
He may outlive me.
Knockout. I got my money on Mr. Bennett.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. Well, again, I guess we're at the end of the show. I know we got a show that's coming up after us. Any final thoughts, guys, before we close the show? Shawnee, Dante, Trey, Ferg, any final thoughts before we out of here?
Man, look, the fact that we talked about all these sports, man, you single guys, get y'all ass outside and start exercising.
For real.
It's nice weather. I don't want y'all to be crying about what y'all can't do at the end of the summer. Get out, exercise, get in shape, box, run, fucking ride a tricycle, bicycle, skate, whatever you got to do to drop that winter weight that we all just picked up, man. Come on, man. Because y'all want me to come in as Mr. Steal Your Girl because your ass is too fat.
You good? Dante, you good? Shawnee, you good?
I'm good.
Man.
All right. Real quick.
I'm just looking at my Astros. I don't know what's going on with them, man. Everybody,
it's gonna be a long season.
What is interesting? The Houston fans locally, they wanted Baker and Maldi gone from last year, even though they was still winning. But they wanted them gone. Then immediately the next season, you have all these issues going. I'm like, well, it goes to show you the grass ain't always green on the other side. So pitching is terrible. You know, some questionable calls as far as management calls. But they wanted both of them gone. You know, sometimes you gotta be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, and fellas, do something. Grab your nuts, go to a boxing gym, and learn how to box. Learn how to throw hands, man. Y'all young cats, stop picking up these guns like sissies. Okay. No, throw hands. Okay. When I was coming up, we threw hands. That's what we did. And if you lost, guess what you did? Went back to the lab, got good, and came back for your lick. You came back to get your lick back. You know, so you ran it back. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
He came back for another one.
Hey, it is what it is, man. Some people came back for get their lit back and lost again. Some people did, but hey, you gotta admire the heart, though. You know what I'm saying?
Second on life.
Right. And everybody went home. No, everybody lived. No one was really hurt. Not for real. You know what I'm saying? Maybe your ego or your pride or something, but that's about it. You know, but
nowadays, if you get beat like that, everybody gonna put that thing on social media. They didn't exist back then, so you was able to take the beat in peace.
Yeah, you gotta live with that one.
Nowadays everybody will find out. That'll get you all wired up. Next thing you know, it can lead to bad things, man. Cause you just getting punched. You getting cyberbullied.
For real.
There's no such thing as cyberbullying. Stop that. Anyway,
the way these young folks today. Man,
final thoughts.
Okay. Final thought today. Congratulations to Reggie Bush, who got his Heisman back. Imagine the landscape of sports. Finally, they're saying amateur athletes can make money from sports. So now that's accepted in the land. So they said, well, we might as well give him his Heisman back. So shout out to him. He never should have lost it, because everybody, even back then, everybody knew about the blue chip program. Everybody knew about the boosters and all that. So it was just that kind of thing in plain sight. So congrats, he got his Heisman back, and now he can be a rep. He can come to the Heisman awards show every year. So again, shout out to him. Again, long overdue. So good for him.
Yeah. Final thought is Devin Haney. I was pulling for you to win. You didn't. Oh God. He's going to come back stronger this next fight in the rematch. It'll be a better fight in favor of Haney. I'm going to pick Haney for the second fight too.
Got to move up though. Got to move. No, not at 140. Can't be.
You think so?
No.
Fair enough. Move it 147. I mean, it's time. But
Dante versus Donkey. Only in America. Only in America.
Let's stop it, Don. Come on. Let's stop this, man.
I'll tell you.
I didn't want to highlight all the rest because he had this from right here.
I know. Loss is huge, man. Loss is like 6'5", 260 or something like that. Man played O-tackle or something.
But Rick used to box. There's a difference. Rick used to box. So I put my money on Rick.
All right, so how about put Ricky in with either, if not yourself, then put him in with JT. JT used to box also. Boxers.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good one.
Put the boxers in, yeah.
You see what me and you doing? Trade for versus Uncle Willie.
Uncle Jeff all day.
Who's Uncle Jeff? Yeah. Am I missing something? I don't know.
The comedian.
Go ahead and put your money on that.
He was actually on Def Comedy Jam. He is currently.
But speaking about comedians, now what about our guy? The comedian who also boxed.
Jay Speed?
Yeah.
Jay Speed. Yeah.
I could put Jay Speed in with JT or Unc. I'll put him in there with them.
Yeah, I would.
He says he can beat everybody, so look.
Yeah, right.
Jay Speed be showing that work on the bag and all that. He's like, I got something for you.
Look at this right now.
Pastor
Pastor
Haynes.
See what's going on here right now?
I can't fight no man of God.
Yeah, right. I'd have so much fun with that. Yeah, Pastor, come on, Pastor. Preach me a sermon.
Guess who's supporting you, Shawnee?
Pumping that jab right in his eye.
Yeah. I can't fight no man.
Amen. They look when the bell rings. I'm like, amen.
Exactly.
Right.
He give me one of them holy uppercuts.
Right.
Hey, let's not forget.
Man.
Look at this right here.
There you go. That's right, Ferg. Say we better hit me out soon. That's right. That's right.
I got
too much violence here.
I'm calling for. I got Haney in the rematch. I do. Crawford has put himself. I want to say Crawford has put himself in a precarious situation. He's in a situation where the world is his oyster. He has momentum, but it's now starting to.
I don't know.
Slide off. He's in a situation where no one wants to fight him.
No, right, and he's not a draw. And he's not a. For somebody, he's not a draw.
It's because he's not. He doesn't go out there and scream and defecate on camera like these other morons and make a big show of it. Like Mayweather, True. He's no great fighter. He ain't got the tools for that, but he's a very good showman, salesman. You know what I'm saying? He's a skilled boxer. Don't get me wrong. Not taking that from him. He's got the skills to make meals, But is he Sugar Ray Robinson or Sugar Ray Leonard or Marvin Hagler? No, he's not Tommy Hitman Hearns. He's none of those people. Right. Nowhere near them. He's Jake LaMotta. He's nowhere near that. But he knew how to sell a fight. Crawford comes up there. Hey, Terrence, what do you think about the upcoming fight? Well, I think it'll be all right. I'm just going to go in there and do what I can do. And we'll see who comes out on top. The end. You know what I'm saying?
He does have a fight. He does have a fight coming up in Saudi Arabia. He's fighting this guy in Saudi. So maybe. So again, Crawford, if he can get now the fact that they signed Boots to the zone, so he's got a fight coming up in Riyadh. Boots just joined on. If he can get Boots and Crawford to fight, that's the fight I'm going to be seeing. If you're a boxing fan, that's the fight you need to be watching. It may not be with the other guys, but that's the one you need to see.
I'm going to watch it, but I got to tell you this. I've been saying this for years. Back in 2014, it's when Crawford really came on my radar hardcore because he beat Yuriorkis Gamboa. I mean, handled Gamboa.
Yeah.
And during the time where Gamboa he's a good, really good fighter. But when he did that, I was like, oh my God, let me watch this dude. And I quickly figured out that he was super skilled. So Crawford, I'll put Crawford against anybody for the win.
I hear. Nah, he's a great fighter, no doubt about it. But listen, maybe in the future we can do as part of the sports show if the fellas are up for it, we can do some pre-fight
I
shows.
love that. I would love that.
We can have a segment on the show where we go over and analyze fights before, and then again have a commentary after the Wednesday after the fight. We could possibly do that. So I'll talk to the fellas about that. See if we can put that together and see. Yeah. But yeah, I would love to mix it up on that. Sounds good.
Yeah, especially like pre-fight stuff, or like have a fight party where we don't air the fight, but Joe Rogan does this and other channels do it.
Yeah,
they're watching the fight
party would be dope.
You see us, you know what I'm saying, on the camera. You can't see the fight, but you see us, and we're watching the fight. So yeah, things like that. That'd be dope.
Okay, all right.
And I think that would catch on. Like that would really catch on. You and I, we're talking during the fight and talking about what's going on.
Y'all want the Mike Tyson fight to be the first fight?
What's the date on that?
June 20th. Was it June?
June the 20th or something like that.
June 20th.
Is there any other good fights coming up soon? Other than
well, yeah, Fury. I think Fury and Usyk is. I think that's the next big one that's coming up.
If Fury doesn't duck that fight for the third time.
Okay,
he's ducked it twice now. He's ducked it twice now with his bullshit.
That would be amazing if you guys all had to fight on it and watching the fight together and actually coming on the whole fight. Like
that's what I'm
I almost said on principle. I said I would never watch a fight with those brothers just out of principle.
Who?
But for Mike, I may have to break it. We'll see.
Oh, those Paul brothers. I'll tell you about my thoughts on that. If this is not some WWF pro wrestling, we got to decide who wins before the fight type deal. If Mike Tyson gets in that ring and he wants to win, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
That Paul doesn't stand a chance if that's the Mike Tyson that shows up that night.
Yeah.
Right.
But if it's the one who fought against Roy Jones,
But he didn't want to hurt him though.
Right, because he
wanted to.
He hit him, and then Roy Jones would pretty much fall over on.
Yeah, then he pull his punch back. Like it's like, nah, I don't want to hurt you, bro. Let's make our money and let's get out of here.
Right.
But Mandro, you need to understand, he's rigging the fight so he can win. That's the problem. He's changing the rules. Well, Paul.
2-minute rounds, 16-ounce gloves. So yeah,
that's worse. You get hit with a 16-ounce glove. That's with Mike Tyson's speed.
Yeah, but I've heard that the making rule that if he get knocked out in the first round, Mike not to get no bag. So they're trying to set him up.
Hell no.
You can't make a rule like that.
Black David, I don't know. Who are you listening to, Black David?
To be fair, Black Man of Culture, there are a lot of rumors about the fight. Like at one point in time, there was a rumor that they had to wear headgear and all that stuff. Actually, I think that was on the table for negotiations. But when people found out, and they was like, "Oh, that's bullshit. I'm not watching this fight." That's when they took that off the table. Because Paul is not really trying to get hurt. And I don't care if he's 110 years old. That's still Mike Tyson.
Would you think it's more damage with a 16-ounce glove than an 8?
Bro, it's easy to get knocked out with 16 ounces. I hit you in the chin. Holy crap.
And you talk
With a
about Mike
16 ounce
Tyson.
club? No, I'd rather take the 10 ounces.
All people with Mike Tyson are talking about.
I'd rather take the 10 ounce clubs, man. That's 16 ounces.
And Mandrell,
right on the chin.
I'm still, and since we got Mr. Bennett here, and he's also a boxing fan. Look at that bottom, what I just put there, Mr. Bennett. You know that I'm telling the truth. Now, Mandrell, don't say nothing. As a true boxing fan.
Which Sugar Ray you talking about?
Leonard?
Either one.
No. In his prime? No, in his prime, no.
Exactly. In his prime, no.
He beat him like he did his daddy. He beat him like his daddy.
Yes, he would.
He fought his dad. Sugar Ray fought his daddy back in the day. He fought Mayweather. So
Ray was small. See, the thing is, Ray was a small guy, but he had that.
No, he wasn't. No, Ray was 5. First of all, Sugar Ray Leonard was 5'10".
I know. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, compared to the rest of them, like he was smaller than Marvin Hagler. He was shorter than
Tommy Hearns.
Than Tommy Hearns.
Right.
Duran was bigger than him, almost a full body size bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
But Ray had that dog in him. Ray was just as strong and twice as fast as all. He was just as strong as most of them and twice as fast. Ray had that dog in him, though.
Yeah.
That dog and that ring IQ was way too high, and his hand speed too much for Mayweather to keep up with. Mayweather can't handle that kind of speed.
And the power. I mean,
he's
not known with those other guys like as a power puncher, but again, he get it done when he need to get it done.
He knocked you slap out.
Yes. So
he beat him like he beat his daddy.
Yeah.
He'll beat his daddy so bad he started shuffling his feet and stuff in between combos.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Now I can't give Sugar Ray Robinson. I don't like comparing fighters like when you're going back to like before 1960 or 1950. I don't like necessarily comparing because back then it was like you hit me, I hit you, and who's tougher. I don't think
Robinson, to me, pound for pound, greatest boxer of all time. There's nothing that he couldn't do. He was throwing knockout punches, one-handed while moving backwards. Mr. Bennett.
He might have been though, like he was backwards. But to me. It was all he might have been like Wilt Chamberlain in basketball at the time. You know, he was so much above and beyond everybody else of that era. He didn't fight anybody else like Sugar Ray Leonard, for example. There was no Sugar Ray Leonard in his Jake LaMotta and those guys were like, again, come hit me. Mike Graziano, all those guys were right there and said, hit me, you know, and they would just take it. But if he had to fight a guy, you know, who had comparable skills like the guys from the 80s, I'm not saying he wouldn't win. I'm just saying I can't just say it's automatic. But his skills were light years above the commonplace of fighters of that time. Everybody else was a tough guy. All those Italian guys, tough guys, you know. And so, yeah, they're meant there to be hit. But if you got to go against a guy who's just got as much skills and got power, that's tough, man.
He has as much power as them. He was, like I said, 3 or 4 times faster than anybody else out there in the
his era. But not compared to Leonard in those guys in the 80s. I can't give him that. I mean,
I say the only person that would have given him trouble,
I see you lost.
Maybe was Hagler. Because out of the 4 kings, Hagler was the best. Hagler did beat Ray. They gave that fight to Ray Leonard. Mm-hmm. Hagler won. Everyone who watched that fight knows that Hagler won that fight. Everyone who watched it, come on.
I would say this. I think he won the fight, but he lost the fight though. His strategy was just off. His strategy was off. I mean, he gave away too many early rounds and I think he gave it away because I think he thought it was going to be a quick night, a short night, and it didn't happen. So I think he lost it as much as Ray won it. But I put a lot of that on Hagler though.
Ray fell behind. Like Hagler caught up and surpassed him, and Ray did he tricked the judges. You remember because he was like they called 30, and he just threw his little pitter patter joints, and like only half of them connected and did no damage at all. But they counted. I was like, stop!
And he only did it the last 30-second rounds of the fight. He was trying to steal those rounds at the end of the fight.
He was round stealing.
Yeah. But Hagler gave up too much ground early on. The first 6 rounds, Hagler gave up too much.
I think
if he went out there and tried to really go at him,
I think he lost 4 of the first 6 or something like that. Yeah, and then Hagler just came out and just bull rushed him the whole. And Hagler was beating the shit out of this guy, and he just wouldn't go down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. Ray Leonard was tough.
He was tough. Yeah,
he was tough, man. I agree. And I remember watching his last fight, his last professional fight. I felt bad because I
was that Terry Norris?
Yeah,
Terry Norris beat him. Yeah, he beat him down. He
was too old, man. Too much damage to taken.
Now, before we end the show tonight, I'm gonna have the question. Can we have one night before the Titan and Paul fight that we have all the boxing experts that we know here, that include Mr. Bennett, Mandrell, and JT, because
works
you guys have a wealth.
Bring Uncle Rick.
A wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, because Uncle Rick, he did a summary show on the Garcia fight as well.
We need to have all you guys on a panel talking about boxing and what's going on with boxing today, what is missing, what is lacking, what needs to be brought back. Because from where I'm seeing it right now, and hear you guys speaking, because I know I'm an MMA expert on that, but not a boxing expert. But I can see when boxing is really lacking real bad, and I grew up watching boxing.
And if you notice, people who have a deep boxing background in MMA, they dominate.
Yeah, they do.
They do. They dominate in MMA. If you have a deep boxing background,
I'm not gonna argue that, because for me to practice MMA, and I tried to audition for US when I came back to the state, I know boxing was needed.
You gotta have
boxing is like it's almost. I sent you guys I don't know if you on Facebook. I sent you guys a video in the messaging. You had this guy talking about boxing, why boxers essentially beat up martial arts guys or whatever, and the thing is you can't fake box. Like martial arts, as much as I love and respect it, again, if you're getting rewarded because of your forms and your katas and your drills and everything, but you can't fake boxing though. Boxing, you have. Again, you could be a great martial artist and not know how to fight.
And
it doesn't work that way in boxing.
No, in boxing, you learn how
you either do or you don't.
Right. Because learning how to fight is hand in hand with boxing. Boxing really, they call it the science of boxing. It really is a science.
Yeah. It
really is. And then learning how to manage the fight yourself. A boxer is going to, at any given time, is going to control that fight. You know what I'm saying? He manages the distance, manages the pace. You know what I'm saying? His read and recognition of the situation, his reflexes. He's getting punches thrown at him all day long.
Right. Yeah, and then the punches that he throws are just better. Like an MMA striker cannot compare to a boxer.
That's why I be in class with beating the shit out of people.
I hear what you're saying. An MMA striker, keyword, MMA striker cannot fight with a boxer. I fully understand. But when it comes to martial art, we have to be careful, because there are different martial art that we also know that are not other type of martial we want to compete with. You have Thai boxing, for example. Thai boxing, I call it barbaric for the reason of the level of condition they put themselves through. And more than likely, I would never want to fight a person who into Thai boxing. I would not expect a boxer to fight with a guy in Thai boxing. Chances is, you go home broken.
Yeah, I would certainly put those. I would certainly put those guys up there with, but if I had levels to it, and again, obviously you're bringing the foot game into it. But in terms of hands, boxing is going to be. If you talk about hands only, I would put boxers at the top of that. Yeah, but the one thing I will say to MMA guys, to be fair to them, they're fighting with like 4-ounce gloves. So you're basically talking about the way boxing used to be like in the early 1800s and 1900s or something. Again, when you're you guys are like bare knuckle. So if you watch those early fights, it wasn't like boxers were throwing jabs, 20 jabs around or whatever. Because again, you didn't have the hand protection. You had to be very careful because a punch could break your hand. But if MMA fighters were allowed to be like the kickboxers used to be, like PKA, kickboxing, when you could wear like the real boxing gloves, then I think you'd be able to see a bit more what those guys can do. But MMA, yeah. Go ahead.
Here's the problem. MMA under the UFC banner, about 60 to 70% of these fighters are now real actual martial artists. Let's keep that crystal clear.
True.
When you watch it, I watch it like a science. Because when you practice make martial art, you analyze everything. And I noticed that about 60 to 70% of the fighters who come in UFC, they're not really actual martial artists. Only very few select among them are actual martial. They partake in it. Like look at one PC right now. Those are raw actual martial artists competing, and the fight they have over there is not the same as UFC. I had an issue with UFC because even though they had a weight class where it was good, but the people that bring it in, they're almost cookie cutter. They don't know how to be flexible.
I'm not with it. I wasn't with the weight classes. I wasn't. I really wasn't. Like when it comes to martial arts, I mean, I think it should have stayed no weight no weight division. The time limit, okay, I'm with that. Fair enough. But I wish that they would bring back because I thought Bellator was going to go the way of what do you call that? Pride fighting.
I was
There was
thinking the same thing.
no time. You know when they did their Grand Prix, no time, no weight division, none of that. You know what I'm saying? And they just let them go. So and it's full contact martial arts, you know. But
bare knuckle brawling is boring. I mean,
it is.
Again, you can't. It's too expensive. Like it's like you're waiting for that one shot, but you're not going to be throwing. You can't be throwing these punches as a bare knuckler. So it's like everyone's going to be.
In MMA, like if I've been in the cage, Mr. Bennett, just jabs, crosses, uppercuts.
And hit the thing. Metro know this.
Like you do have to practice it because there's a difference between wearing the gloves and wearing those 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah,
big gloves, right? And you don't want to break your hands, so you do have to practice it. And you know what I'm saying. Most of the time, the jab is just to throw the guy off so I can get something else off. You know what I'm saying? I'll pop you in the nose, but I'm not gonna hit you. I've never hit anyone full force, either bare hand or with MMA gloves.
Right. But a lot of times, even if you break your hand, it's not even going to be from a flush punch. It's either going to be a punch to the side.
Yeah.
Like if you like they said, like even when you punch, you want to go through these first two knuckles, right? The big knuckles here, right? But a lot of times, hand breaks happen on the side. So that means you punch, you missed, but you caught the guy on the side. That's enough to break your hand. So again, it's a lot of those injuries happen because of accident, not because you just went to hit somebody that hard.
But it's also based on the conditioning, because let's be real. If you actually taking the real martial art and you properly, remember that I told you before on Going in Review, when you're training karate, you condition yourself to almost be like a weapon. That means your bone become
I mean, basically you're destroying like any sensitivity in the hand. Not only you're building up the calluses, but I mean you're basically killing the nerve endings in your hand, so you don't feel. So that's why you can punch a brick wall and not necessarily feel anything. Because again, you killed all the.
Imagine these real martial artists don't do the promotion they see here out here on TV, but do the underground. And the underground, we all know, underground is full contact.
Yeah, not the McDojos, not for sure.
No, the McDojos are ridiculous, dude. Like I said, that's what the Karate Kid did to karate. It created a bunch of McDojos.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? That's what karate. That's what karate.
Old underground fight. And believe me when I say this. It's not what you think of it, because the UFC you see here, one private PC is close to almost the underground. It's almost close, because you see real martial artists actually really fighting. But to compare a real practitioner of the art, that's a whole nother ballgame, because some art, they're breaking wood, they're breaking stone, they're breaking thick ice, and for you to use your hand or your feet to break a thick pallet of ice, and you're not feeling nothing. So imagine that same force you had. You punch somebody.
Well, but again, it's like you got to be there to hit it, though. It's like the same. If you had a bat in your hand, trying to come at me, if I have my I could still avoid you. I mean, just because you have a bat doesn't mean that you're going to hit me with it. You know what I'm saying? Or I have a
And I get it. So imagine you have those type of mixed martial artists who have been doing it since youth, and they perfect their art, and they go to the underground to see who the biggest and the baddest. The movie Bloodsport was actually based on that. People were actually losing their life.
Yeah. You would say steak.
No, the movie is but what was being told by the underground wasn't.
There's plenty of underground.
But at the end of the day, and again, I got to go with this, guys. Because this can go into a whole nother discussion. But again, to me, that there's a difference between being a fighter and a martial artist. Yes, I think martial arts can be a tool, just like boxing or any of these other things could be a tool. But to learn how to fight,
when you talk about self-defense, when you're talking about, you know, in the street or wherever you find yourself, to me that's a rare breed of person who truly has the fighting spirit, or someone who knows how to fight. Because you can have all the belts, you can have all that stuff that you want to, and you know, these guys still get beat. So again, there's fighters, and then there's like everybody else. Everybody else, it's a.
And I would say visit the country of the origin and see how they actually go down. Like you understand, whoa, it's different.
Yeah. All right, guys, great show. Definitely looking forward to the draft tomorrow. Yes, but I'm definitely open to, and we can talk about possibly having a watch party, or we can have a pre-fight or post-fight analysis and whatnot. Certainly, I would love to be opened up to that. We can talk about, you know, how we want to go about doing that, or having
Landrell, JT,
JT and Uncle Rick. I would say those are and Jay Speed, if he wants to come on too, because he's a, you know.
Yeah, we need to have Jay Speed on it, because we need all the boxing experts to speak on it, because we don't want nobody just make up stuff. Because you see what BMU did. He brought that question out, and y'all both knocked it out. They know.
You crazy though. All right, fellas. You guys have a good night.
All
Man,
right.
Joe, thanks for jumping on. Definitely, you added a
problem.
lot to the conversation. I appreciate it.
Hey, I was wrong about this one. Y'all mark your calendars.
Yeah.
I'm finally
Had
I was
me.
finally wrong. Calling a fight.
He caught all of us for sure. He definitely did.
Yeah, he did.
All right, fellas.
Yeah.
All right.
Good night.
Take care.
Later.
Yep. Bye.